The federal government is pushing forward with plans to borrow a staggering 17.89 trillion naira to finance Nigeria's 2026 budget, a figure that has sent shockwaves in economic circles and left many Nigerians wondering how the country got here. The documents, quietly issued by the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, did not just reveal a new loan figure. They exposed the widening hole in the country's finances, a hole that keeps growing despite promises, reforms, and painful sacrifices citizens have endured. If you're watching, please like this video and subscribe. This borrowing plan marks a 72% jump from the 10.42 trillion naira the government plans to borrow in 2025. And as Nigerians digest this news, a much bigger question hangs in the air. How did we get from "we are removing fuel subsidies so we can save Nigeria from borrowing" to owing more than any administration in Nigeria's recent history? According to the 2026 budget framework obtained from the Budget Office, Nigeria's fiscal deficit is projected to climb to 20.12 trillion naira, up from 14.10 trillion naira approved for 2025. That is a 43% jump. The irony is that overall, government spending for 2026 is actually expected to drop slightly, yet the deficit is rising because government revenues are crashing faster than expenses can be controlled. Revenue available for the federal budget, excluding what government-owned enterprises keep, is expected to fall dramatically from 30.82 trillion naira in 2025 to 29.35 trillion naira in 2026. That's a painful drop of 23%. If you're watching, please like this video and subscribe. Even though revenues might recover slightly in 2027 and 2028, the government itself admits the growth is too weak to stop heavy borrowing. The numbers tell the story of a country whose earnings cannot keep up with its growing needs, inflationary pressures, and debt obligations. Now, here's where the story gets deeper. The government plans to raise 80% of these new loans locally, meaning through domestic creditors, the same financial institutions that businesses depend on for loans, expansion, and survival. In 2026 alone, 14.31 trillion naira will be borrowed domestically. Only 3.58 trillion naira will come from external lenders. This pattern is consistent over the next 3 years, meaning Nigeria will effectively be draining the same financial ecosystem that drives economic activity. Economists warn this is dangerous. Borrowing heavily from domestic markets makes banks prefer lending to the government, a safer option, instead of supporting struggling small and medium-scale businesses. Interest rates then rise because demand for credit increases. Professor Adeola Adenikinju of the Nigerian Economic Society explained it clearly. If you borrow from the public, interest rates will go up. And once interest rates rise, businesses cannot expand, jobs disappear, and inflation worsens. Please like this video and subscribe. Let me ask you, do you think heavy local borrowing is hurting Nigerian businesses? What has been your experience with loan rates recently? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Debt servicing, the money Nigeria pays just to meet interest and repayment schedules, is projected to rise from 13.94 trillion naira in 2025 to 15.52 trillion naira in 2026. That means almost half of every naira the federal government earns will go into paying old debts. Think about it. Money that could have built new hospitals, funded education, or developed infrastructure is being swallowed by debt repayment. Dr. Mude Yusuf from the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise warned, high levels of deficits and high levels of debt can choke the fiscal space and lead to a vicious circle of debt. This vicious circle is already visible. Please like this video and subscribe. Now, at this point, let's pause and think about the human side. What does it mean when 45% of national revenue goes into debt repayment?
It means fewer roads, fewer hospitals, fewer jobs, more inflation, and more hardship. When President Bola Tinubu removed fuel subsidy in May 2023, he said Nigeria would save trillions, money the government could use to build the economy without borrowing. In his exact words, "Subsidy is gone. We will use the savings to support the people and grow the economy." But today, the Tinubu administration has borrowed more money within its first 2 years than any administration in Nigeria's Fourth Republic within the same time frame. What happened? Where did the savings go? Why is borrowing still rising? These are the questions many Nigerians are asking, and understandably so. Please like this video and subscribe. Some analysts say the subsidy removal savings were swallowed by a rapidly devaluing naira, inflation, increased recurrent expenditure, debt servicing, and the cost of government operations. But citizens are yet to see the transparency they were promised. Let me throw the question back to you. Do you feel the impact of fuel subsidy removal savings in your life, your community, or your business? Share your experience.
To understand Nigeria's current debt path, it helps to look back. Under Olusegun Obasanjo, 1999 to 2007, Nigeria negotiated debt forgiveness with the Paris Club, paid off substantial portions of external debt, reduced foreign debt to some of the lowest in Nigerian history. Obasanjo's goal was simple: free Nigeria from the burden of debt so the next generation could breathe. Under Goodluck Jonathan, borrowing increased, but it remained moderate, and Nigeria's GDP rebasing in 2014 expanded the debt-to-GDP ratio, giving the economy more headroom. Under Muhammadu Buhari, 2015 to 2023, borrowing rose sharply due to economic recession, low oil prices, insecurity, COVID-19, and heavy reliance on ways and means, overdrafts from the CBN. But even Buhari's heavy borrowing did not match the early pace of Tinubu's administration. Please like this video and subscribe. Nigerians are asking, how did we remove subsidies, increase taxes, float the currency, cut capital spending, yet still borrow more than before? Now here is where the story becomes even more sobering. Several African countries with no crude oil are growing faster than Nigeria. Burkina Faso, Rwanda, Ethiopia, Benin Republic, and Uganda. These countries rely on manufacturing, agriculture, efficient public spending, stable governance, consistent monetary policies. Burkina Faso, for example, has had impressive GDP growth driven by gold mining, agriculture, and better fiscal discipline, despite political instability and security challenges. Nigeria, on the other hand, has crude oil, the commodity many African countries would love to have, yet Nigeria's economy lags behind. Why? Economists say Nigeria's problem is not lack of resources, but lack of fiscal discipline, investment in productive sectors, transparency, infrastructure, and policy consistency. Please like this video and subscribe. Across communities, Nigerians are reacting to the borrowing news with mixed emotions. Some fear more inflation, some expect increased hardship, others worry their children will inherit debts without seeing development. Many say they are already struggling with fuel costs, rising prices, and stagnant incomes. At Tuesday's National Debt Dialogue in Abuja, experts spoke emotionally about the debt burden. Mr. Ikenna Ofwegbu said, "At the end of the day, all these debts, our children will inherit them." He reminded Nigerians that every borrowing decision today shapes the future of young people who cannot vote, cannot speak, and cannot defend their financial future. Budget's acting country director, Joseph Amenagawon, delivered the most powerful line. "The result is debt without development, a generation borrowed but not invested in." Please like this video and subscribe. Nigeria stands at a crossroads. Borrowing can help if used wisely. Borrowing can also destroy if mismanaged. The proposed 17.89 trillion naira loan for 2026 could help the economy if invested in infrastructure, used to improve electricity, used to support industries, used for education and healthcare, used to build climate-resilient communities. But it can hurt the economy if spent on recurrent expenses, wasted through corruption, used for political appointments and government overheads, used without transparency, and invested in non-productive projects. Nigeria cannot borrow its way to prosperity. Nigeria must invest its way to prosperity. As we continue, please like this video and subscribe. The 2026 borrowing plan is not just a financial document. It is a mirror reflecting Nigeria's deepest structural problems: dependency on oil, weak revenue collection, excessive government spending, and insufficient investment in productive sectors. But Nigerians are resilient. Communities remain hopeful, experts continue to speak out, and citizens are becoming more aware of how national decisions affect their futures. The bigger lesson? No nation can grow without discipline, transparency, and accountability. And no people can be free if debt holds their future hostage. Your support helps us share important stories responsibly. Please like this video and subscribe. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay hopeful.